it's your main man Mo, all right? The Rusty Tricycle Project. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to start a reality show. We're going to look for the ideal bike for this big man. 6'6", 300-pound plus man. So we're actually going to walk into Reedy Rides. We actually worked with them last year for our bike ride. So we're going to walk in here, see what we can find, get some education, all right? Shop to shop, bike to bike with your man Mo. Let's go.
Hi, how are you?
Hey man, how you doing today?
Good. How may I help you today?
I'm looking for Alex.
Alex? Yes.
Alex,
What's going on, Mo?
what's going on? How you doing today, man?
Well, it's time for a bike ride.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, you know, that actually helped us last year with the bike ride. This year, we had a lot more time to plan, so we're going to need a lot more assistance. I know that y'all rent bikes here, but y'all just started selling them too, right?
We did. Yeah.
All right, what's the brand that y'all typically sell? What would you recommend?
So it always starts with a list of questions. Where do you want to ride? How do you want to ride? And how much money are you going to spend? Those are kind of the big questions. So if you're looking to do kind of city, you know, doing your
22 miles.
doing a 22-mile ride on a paved trail. Mostly paved. So you're going to be looking for a hybrid. There's really three categories of bikes. There's cruiser hybrid, there's mountain bike, and there's road bike.
When you say hybrid, what do you mean exactly?
So a hybrid is it's not going to be, hybrid's right between mountain and road.
Okay.
So the mountain is really made to go off-road, really thick tires, really aggressive geometry. Road bike, really, really skinny tires, made to go fast on pavement, not made for the off-road. The hybrid, there's a little bit of both. Position, your body position is not going to be quite as aggressive. Keep down, bent over. You can be a little more upright. And it'll have kind of middle of the road, thicker tires, so you can do a little bit of gravel, a little bit of road, just kind of everything in between.
Honestly, I didn't know nothing. I didn't know there was so much that actually went into the bike. Growing up, BMX, mountain bikes. I didn't know anything about thin tires that can possibly bust. Paved. I didn't know any of this right here. Honestly, until last year when we started, I didn't know there was actual size requirement. So that's why we're actually doing this right here, to actually get me fitted for the best ideal bike for this bike ride right now. So we're actually going to go shop to shop, looking for bike to bike to find myself the ideal bike. So what would you recommend for someone like 6'6", 300-pound plus man?
So I've got a perfect bike for you. So what we have right here, it's a Sun Boardwalk, so it's produced by Sun. So this is an extra large frame or a 23-inch.
Okay.
So this is really, really big frame meant for big fellas such as yourself.
All right.
You know, there is some weight consideration. This one does have a 315-pound weight limit.
All right, we in there. We in there.
So you should be good there. And then this is going to be a hybrid.
And that's why I was going to ask you. This is a hybrid.
Yes. So it's upright. It'll be a little more upright.
Right.
So and it's also a little bit pedal forward. So on a road bike, you're really down forward and you're pedaling straight down.
Okay.
On a hybrid, you can sit up a little bit more and pedal forward. So you push away from your body, which gives you a little bit more upright position. Really helps your back to not hurt. There's no weight on your wrists. So doing sort of a long 22-mile ride, this will provide comfort as well as plenty of stability, gears to take you wherever you want.
Do you have bigger seats? Because a lot of these small seats feel like a phone.
Yeah.
And it's like, granted, I never had on the phone. We're just going to disregard that part. But nonetheless, we need like a Buick. We need something to feel like a Cadillac or a Buick on the road.
Sure
So
thing.
I'm pretty sure I'm not going to be the only big man out there.
So we call those tractor seats.
Tractor seats. Cool.
And so this is a pretty big one. But the biggest you can find is called a 12 by 12.
Okay.
We do have those. We carry ones produced by C9 or Cloud9, and they are just as big as they come. With the bigger saddles, though, you know, you do have some limitations. So you can't put big saddles on road bikes or mountain bikes. So hybrids, really for a big saddle, hybrids are way bigger.
And I guess that's the politically correct term, big saddle.
Yeah,
Versus just a big seat.
that's right.
All right. So,
That's right.
getting ready for a 22-mile ride, what are some of the things that you think that us inexperienced cyclists, someone told me, if you grew up on a bike, you're considered a cyclist.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to try that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not. Last year when we did it, I was aching for about a whole 6 days, I didn't stretch properly. What are some of the things that you would actually recommend that we need to do to get ready for this ride for us inexperienced riders?
Yeah. So again, I would ask where you're going to ride. There's going to be lots of elevation. That's something you have to consider. So just like fatherhood, it's one day at a time. So when you're doing a 22-mile bike ride, a lot of times we have a lot of beginners that they'll do the whole thing.
Right.
But what you want to avoid is crashing and then feeling terrible the next day. And it's a good terrible, I'll admit. It's always good to get a little exercise.
Of course.
But I would recommend in the first, leading up to the ride, riding 5 miles on a day. And the next week, ride 10 miles. The next week, 15. And then on the final week, ride through 20.
So a stationary bike, like an exercise bike, that doesn't count.
You can do that as long as it has elevation controls. So the biggest thing,
Program, yes.
yeah,
Okay.
program, or you can have a resistance trainer where you just add more friction. So just like going up the hill, you're going to have that resistance. Gravity will be pulling you back as you work to push your body weight up the hill. So you can, on a lot of stationary bikes, you can set that friction to recreate that sort of resistance. And so if you have a good idea of where you're going to be riding, where the elevation change is going to be, you can train for that. So it's not always just a flat ride. We're not in Florida where you just get on and you just kind of coast on a single speed the whole way.
Right.
But we're also not in the mountains where you have to go crazy uphill. So a little elevation here and there is going to be really good.
Whew. Okay, good. So with that being said, you have a bike here, right here behind you, it's an electrical bike. It actually has assistance for those who aren't, again, experienced and that has knee issues.
Yep.
So if you would actually explain this bike right here to us.
So
Oh wow, you got a few of them right here.
yeah, we've got quite a fleet. So we'll start with this one. So these are all going to be relatively the same. So we have, this is a Rad power bike. This is the Rad City 5. These are all pedal assist bikes. Now the Rads do come equipped with throttles, but because we're a high volume rental fleet, we disconnect all of our throttles just to keep everyone safe on the trail.
Really?
Throttles can present an obstacle for people who are not very accustomed to using throttles. So it's pedal assist. So as you pedal, the motor will kick in and push you along. It's really meant to assist. With these bikes, the Rads in particular, they're a little more powerful. So these are 750 watt motors, which can carry me up a pretty steep hill. I'm 6'1", 220. So that's a lot of power in that. So these will carry you along and give you a little bit of assistance if you just want assistance. So if you're going up a hill, you feel like you're about to stop because you're just too tired. You bump that power up just a little bit, and it'll carry you right.
What if I just ride it the entire time?
You can do that too. It's a novelty. It's an e-bike, so I say go for it. Treat it like a motorcycle and just blaze.
But I know that you don't have that seat assistance. What was the political correct term again?
Saddle.
You don't have the saddle. So
Yeah.
that's borderline. That's not quite thong. It's more like boy shorts. We need the saddle. What can you do with the saddle?
So all of these saddles are going to be interchangeable. So if you were to purchase one, so right here, you can see on these e-bikes, we've actually replaced the factory saddles with the Cloud 9s. Right
Okay.
So
So you have a Cloud 10. We might need a Cloud 10. But fair enough. All right. So what else should I do here outside of rental bikes, outside of assistant bikes? What else should I do? I see I got a service shop here. So what we got going on over here?
Yeah, so we offer full service.
Okay.
We can service any kind of bike. So when we bring a bike in, our full tune-up is $60, and that includes a full bike wash. So pick it up, looks pretty.
Okay.
Important things.
Okay.
And then we'll go over the primary components on the bike. So we will tune up the rear derailleur here. If the bike has a front derailleur, we'll tune that up as well. We do something called indexing just to make the chain line up perfectly with the gears back here so that it shifts smoothly. We'll also do a brake adjustment.
One thing last year that I did not know, and I paid for it, I never understood what was the purpose of the different gears, like a 10 speed and whatnot. And I was actually online trying to educate myself at YouTube University. You actually go to the easier gears while you're going up. I was totally unaware of that right now.
That's right.
I'm like, what's the purpose of this right here? I don't feel like I'm going anywhere. And when I did that, I was like, that could have saved me some ibuprofen last year.
That's right. So when you are riding, you have several things at your disposal. So you have shifting, you have brakes, you have tire pressures, and with shifting, you're going to go towards the higher gears as you're going down a hill, and you're going towards the lower gears when you're going up a hill. And if you can see that hill coming, you want to start shifting before you get there. Because if you're shifting under incredible strength and power while you're trying to go up the hill, you can actually break the teeth on the gears, and you can cause other issues as well. So that's kind of a simple trick: is when you're coming up to a hill, before you hit the hill, shift down towards the first gear, and that'll save you a lot of headache.
How big is stretching when it comes down to these right here bike rides, especially? Well, you made it clear that 22 miles is like a run to the store real quick, when actually people do anywhere from 60 to 100. So how important is stretching? What are some of the proper stretching techniques we should actually implement going into this year?
Yeah, sure thing. So I would say some of the most important things is going to be taking care of your back and your knees. Those are going to be the areas that you're going to feel most. And if anybody has any kind of medical problems, getting inflamed joints, it's going to be in those areas. It can happen in your wrists some as well, but doing kind of any knee pulls where you just pull it up to your chest,
Okay.
kind of get a little bit of your quad, a little bit of your glutes there, and then any kind of toe touching or splits if you can do them. That's going to be a great one. Yeah. But the motion that you're going to be creating is just this, and so you think about all the things that's going to be affecting. It's going to be affecting your calf, your knees, your quads, and your glutes, and so getting a good stretch there, and your hips. So toe touching is going to be a big one, and then one that I like to do is I don't know what it's called, but before a long ride, you just sit, stretch out your hip here.
All right.
Get that really, really well. Get it deep in there, and that'll help you as you ride, kind of be fluid. So you can ride a little bit too to warm up first, and then do a little stretching, and then get back on and do the ride. Warming up a little bit before you stretch helps prevent injury, because if you stretch with your muscles cold, they won't be as receptive to stretching. They can tear rather than actually stretching. So I would say stretching is important. And then in terms of butt soreness,
anything for that?
I mean, the best thing you could do is just ride a whole lot. So
you're saying ultimately just get used to the soreness.
Pretty much.
Just deal with it.
Pretty much. The other thing you can't do, is if you have a really big saddle, like the ones that we're looking for, there's not a lot you can do. But when it comes to, other than ride a lot, when it comes to smaller saddles, like mountain bike saddles or road saddles, you can actually go get fitted for that saddle. So the bones in your butt have a distance apart. And those bones need to sit on the ends of the saddle here. And so you can buy a saddle that's appropriate to your butt bones.
Your makeup. Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't realize
So they
wow, interesting.
at high-end bike shops, they have a scanner to sit on,
Right.
and it tells you where your bones are, and then they'll give you a saddle that's appropriate for that.
So as we get into more of these options, such as butt placement seats and disc brakes, what's the average price of a bike like this right here? If somebody actually wanted to purchase a bike from y'all versus actually renting a bike, daily bike ride, what would something like this right here run?
So this bike itself is just under $1,000. It's $960. This is
A Honda Accord, used.
Yeah, that's right.
That's what it is.
That's right. Most of the shops I've ever worked at, the teenagers ride bikes that cost more than their cars. Mountain bikes, high-end mountain bikes, you can go up to $7,000 or $8,000. You can go past that, but that's not super common. So an average bike, sort of a run-of-the-mill hybrid neighborhood kind of bike. If you're looking to get something that's decent quality, it's not Walmart and it's not super high-end. I would say that $400 to $600 range is going to be a good range.
So I'm guessing the more expensive, the lighter the bike is as well.
Yes, so it really comes down to the materials and the components. So this is an aluminum frame, and the quality control in these frames is a lot higher. You look at Kent or a Walmart bike, you look at a whole Schwinn, they're going to be made out of steel, because it's really heavy, and then the quality control is going to be really, really low.
I definitely have a Walmart.
They're cheap bikes, yeah.
Yeah.
So now,
affordable.
I'll preface all this by saying the best bike to ride is the one you got. So if you have a bike, just ride it. Don't be caught up in the envy of all the other bikes. There's nothing worse than trying to enjoy a beautiful day and people complain about their things.
So I guess we need some safety, equipment. What else do we need for an ideal to make our bike rides as enjoyable as possible? I see I have some things over here on the wall. So what's that? Definitely need ice cream. You don't have ice cream.
That's right. Okay, we got ice cream. That's for after the ride, though.
Okay, all right. I thought that was a few before the ride.
So we have all kinds of accessories, little things to help you with your ride. As you can see right up here, we have your giant C9 saddles.
Yes, sir.
This is the XL Airflow, which is great. So different saddles, you can trick your bike out with those, make it more comfortable.
Right.
You can also do gloves, depending on what kind of riding you're going to be doing. If it's going to be wet at all, you want to have maybe some gloves on. These will have these really sticky surfaces. So with that connected to rubber, it won't go anywhere.
Gotcha.
And these can also help with some wrist support. You can get ones that have little bars in them that will help your wrists have blood flow. And then helmets, of course. Most helmets these days are going to be what's called MIPS certified. So MIPS is a type of helmet or a type of helmet construction, and when you crash, all these little foam parts inside will actually just kind of break apart. So they'll take all the impact. And that was back in the day. That was the bee's knees. But it's pretty common now. Most people are going to have MIPS helmets in stock, and they're not terribly expensive either. They go anywhere from $35 to $85.
All right. So y'all have the accessories. I see y'all have some merchandise. What else do y'all offer there at Reedy Rides? What else? What guest packages? What experiences do y'all offer?
Yeah, sure. So we do tours and we do rentals. So we have a couple of different tours that we do.
Okay.
We offer a Swamp Rabbit tour. We offer a Greenville tour. The Greenville tour either is going to be kind of down the park system, North Main Historic District. With the Swamp Rabbit tour, you can ride the whole Swamp Rabbit Trail, give you some good insights on when it was built and all the things going around it. So that's one of the things that we do. We also sell bikes, so we've got several electric bikes and regular bikes for sale. We sell kind of the regular cruisers up to mountain bikes, a little bit of everything.
What's good to eat the morning of for a bike ride? I need to get me some eggs, some bacon, some grits, some biscuits. Like, I need the fuel, I need the protein.
Yeah.
So what do you suggest?
So I typically go a little bit lighter when I eat in the morning before a ride. If I'm going to do a really long ride,
Instead of 2 biscuits, 1 biscuit.
that's right. That's right. Yeah, I'll just have gravy and nothing else. Gravy and bacon. No. So I'll do a bowl of cereal or some granola. You do want some protein and some fat. I like eating bacon and meat before a ride. I'm more of a fat-centric diet, so that's really great. But having a close bar right before you go, not a bad idea. One of the things that there's a misconception that when you start riding, like you don't eat.
Right.
But in reality, the best thing to do is as you ride to eat a little bit, drink a little bit. So you can get little gel packs that have like little Gatorade, energy chews, those sorts of things, and you just pop a couple of those as you're riding along, and it's amazing the difference that it can make. You can boost your energy, your longevity riding quite a bit.
What about water consumption? How do you gauge how much to drink before you get a cramp or you feel bloated? Like too much? What's your water consumption?
So the best thing to do is to be well hydrated a couple of days before.
Okay.
So you want to figure out what your weight is, and then you drink. So I weigh 220 pounds. I drink my body weight cut in half, which is 110 in ounces. So I drink 110 ounces of water. And when you're riding, I'll take 2 bottles of water. And when you're riding, your body's naturally hydrated, and then you'll be able to gauge a lot better how much water you need to drink. If you're out there and you're chugging water, and you're really dehydrated, and so you learn that from the next ride. So as you're coming up to a ride, you take your rides, your early rides that you're doing to train, and you drink some water a couple of days before that. You start before that. You have your good water consumption, consistent water consumption all the way up the ride. And when you're out there, you're not going to feel dehydrated. You'll sweat, but you're not going to feel parched.
All right, because typically you just kind of chug it while you're out there. toss it in. You know, you've seen the movies. You're sitting there, you're rapping,
Yeah.
and then just kind of chug it. That's what people don't do.
Well, that's for racing. So those guys, like Tour de France,
Right.
they're riding hundreds of miles, and they need as much liquids as they can get. And you can only carry so much on your bike
Right.
before you start sacrificing weight.
Right.
And they want to be as light as possible, so they'll have very limited water, or they'll have it from somebody else.
So, all right, before we get out of here, I'm not going to take up too much of your time. I think we fully got educated. We know what not to do. We know we need to do more of. Before we get out of here, right, this right here is the Rusty Tricycle Project, right? And what the Rusty Tricycle Project is just ultimately, as we became adults, we kind of abandoned our childhood dreams, some of our goals, because we gained responsibility. It's almost like a give and take situation. So what we like to do is, just because you're an adult, just because you have responsibility, don't let go of that childhood dreams. Because when you was a child, you felt good. You find those things that just made you feel good. So what was one of those things, if any at all, did you actually let fall to the wayside because you became a father or you got married or like, oh man, I'm an adult, I can't do that? What's one of those things?
So growing up, I always wanted to be a cowboy and a pilot. So the cowboy, the cowboy thing you can still do a little bit.
Yeah, you can.
We used to go out to Colorado when I was a kid, and we'd ride horses and all that good stuff. But being a pilot was always a big one that I wanted to pursue. And at this point, I've got a wife and a little one, and the upfront cost is like $60,000. So it's
Have you ever went downtown Greenville and just took a flight bus?
Oh yeah.
I've done that once, and it was an experience. I'm like,
Yep.
wow, I'm up here.
Yeah.
So,
But you trade that for the life that you build, and as men, we're specialists. We can't. Women can be Renaissance people. They can do a little bit of everything, right? And they can be great at it. But for us, we have to specialize because we have to bring home bacon. But you trade all those other things for the smile that the sun gives you in the morning.
Yeah.
And you can't trade that for anything.
Nah, Rusty Tricycle, nah, you can't trade that. Yeah. Alex, I appreciate the time, man. Thank you. All right, so you gonna ride with us too?
Yeah, I am.
All right, fair enough, man. All right. Rusty Tricycle Project, man. We're at Reedy Rides again in the heart of downtown Greenville. Come check out my man Alex. Let him know Mo sent you. We can catch you on next go round, all right? Shop, bike with your man Mo. You gotta find a bike. This episode of Shop to Shop and Bike to Bike was brought to you by Reedy Rides. You need a new bike? Reedy Rides. You need a bike rental? Reedy Rides. You need some accessories? Reedy Rides. Located in the heart of downtown Greenville at 50 South Richardson Street. Let them know your man Mo sent you.